Welcome to Face for the Newsfirst team. I'm Niresh Eliadambi. I am pleased to welcome to our program this evening Dr. Thilanga Sumathipala, who of course needs no introduction to Sri Lankan viewers, and Dr. Amna Mezni, who is the Dean of the Faculty of International Relations at Paris American International University. And we are here to speak of Dr. Sumathipala's landmark publication, which is this one, An Island of Balance, which has come out of his thesis for his PhD. Welcome to both of you and good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, Niresh. It's good to have you at the face-to-face.
Dr. Thilanga, and it is a change to be able to address you as Dr. Thilanga Sumathipala. Earlier it was, of course, the Honorable Thilanga Sumathipala when you were Deputy Speaker of Parliament. But now you have certainly, made a firm move into academia with the publication of this book, which is not your first book, of course, but this particular book is of very deep research and very timely research and recommendations as Sri Lanka attempts to move forward. So can I ask you to explain to our viewers what your book was about, what your research was about, and how you set about that?
Well, Niresh, I was the Deputy Speaker, as you know, and then in 2014 I was involved with deliberations of the SDG 2030 agenda of UN. So I put a paper when I became the Deputy Speaker under the leadership of Honorable Karu Jayasuriya. I was appointed as the Chairman of the Select Committee of Parliament in Sri Lanka for SDG. Then I put up a 16-member panel was given to me. I restructured with 4 clusters to deal with the 17 goals for economic stability and then fundamental needs, justice and fairness, and environmental stability. The 4 clusters were based to deal with the 17. There we had people like Niroshan Perera, former Member of Parliament, Buddhika Patirana, former Member of Parliament, and current Minister of Transport, Honorable Bimal Ratnayaka, and Anuradha Jayaratne were the cluster chair who was dealing with us. So we had a very extensive masterpiece studying current status of Sri Lanka and where we can go in 15 years, 2030, and we have evaluated the subject matter. Then I found was not enough data. There are grassroots level data at very much GN divisions and so on and so forth, but that sometimes it stops at district level. There's hardly any proper data with the national level. When you have data with national level, so you can't deal with the 17 goals in that context. So I articulated this document with the SL data, with the statistics, Department of Statistics, and then we had a separate conference on that, which is also we are dealing with it. Then we found there is a variance to deal with. So what is important there, when His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena was the President, Austin Fernando was the Secretary to the President, through the office we sent a circular to all the ministries to align the budget allocation with the SDGs, with the health, education, all the ministries. So that was the initiative. As a result, whenever they put the budget proposals to the Parliament by all the respective ministries, they are supposed to put the SDG impact for their budgetary allocations and the roadmap of SDG achievement as well. That was our intention far back, almost 10 years ago. Then when I went into it, I found our institutional gaps. We have the intention, we have the principle, we have the policies. We came with the enactment of sustainable development foundation or unit, but there is a execution, there is a huge gap. So after I left Parliament, I thought, with all this knowledge, experience, I must document it. So I thought I must have a systematic way of handling this document. So I contacted I was in touch with the French Parliament, Minister of Education. So started my PhD thesis together with Dr. Mezni, and then I had the vigor of having a very constructive research. It took almost 3.5 years for me to conclude my thesis, a lot of research. And I found, though the world is moving together in the sense of policy, we can't be just, Sri Lanka can't be left behind unless you are part of it. So in that, I've analyzed 2024, when the World Bank came with the new theory of be ready. So I've dealt extensively in that as well, which we can discuss. Therefore, when they initiated the new be ready format in the world last year, 50 countries were entitled to go in because they were ready with the initial framework. Sri Lanka wasn't there. And the second batch was another 100, now it's 105 countries in the batch 2 of getting into be ready. We are still not there. Hopefully after the 2026, we should be able to get in there. It's very significant, very important for us. So I thought it has to be analyzed theoretically as well as practically, also institutionally, how far away we are. So that's this book is all about, and the purpose is that. So it's what the island of balance analysis, and the amount of data we have. So from 1948 to date, how much money we spend for our defense and how much money we spend for various institutions, all that we have done a lot of research on that. It's also in the book. So I think I thought we all have some experience during our time. You have to document it. It has to be worthwhile, and it should be referred for someone else, or young students, other fellow people who are following any study or scholar. It can be a reference to it. That was my intention.
Interesting indeed. And let me bring Dr. Amna Mezni into the conversation. Dr. Amna, tell us a little bit about the Paris American International University and the scope of research that is carried out especially by PhD candidates and so on, which must be quite worldwide.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. So Paris American, I'm a dean of Paris American International University, is an international institution focused on accessible, globally oriented higher education. So it offers undergraduate masters and even doctoral programs across fields like business, psychologic, to technologic. So the goal is to support students and doctoral candidates for research focused on real world. So to face challenges and to find, of course, some recommendation for the governments or for the firms.
Very interesting. And do you often get research like this, which is very practical oriented?
It's practical oriented because it's, if you want, nowadays, it's not research for research, it's research action. So that's why I'm a mentor. So you needed to know the land to find the question, the problem, and get the solution. And then because I was the president of the jury for this thesis, so I discovered Sri Lanka with this struggle with some challenges, and it was for me interesting because it gave us theoretical with, of course, practical things to implement.
Excellent. Now, Dr. Thilanga, we often see research being done towards the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, which are intended to build modern societies which take into account the quality of life and so on, health, education, gender, and all that. And then on the flip side, we see research being done on how business ready a country is. And you get various indicators on this and so on. And the World Bank's Be Ready program is one such. But you have very interestingly married the two. One is social, the other one is business, and you have brought both into this. How do you manage to do that?
Thank you for asking that question, Niresh. That is exactly what we must look at. I had the opportunity, I was very lucky to be living in both sides of the world. Like I was a legislator, so I understand the political thinking behind this, how the parliament acts and how they enact, as well as from the business world point of view. My experience as the chairman of Telecom, to go and list it, make it a PLC, how I managed to transform it, my acquisition of Mobitel, the international rating, sovereign ratings and Fitch rating and things like that. So this country cannot go forward without FDI. That is mandatory.
Absolutely.
When you say FDI, this is foreign direct investment, means it's not from political, it is the business people, investors who wants to come, who will come. When they look at a country, they look at basic values. Those basic values, not what we look at. So we should be happy. World Bank came with a new index instead of having doing business index. DBI was there before. It was not very up to date by the time we reached 2024. So this new version of the doing business index, DBI, is the Be Ready. Be Ready, they have segmented into 10 core values. Then those two core values, there is a way of giving kind of 100 out of points kind of thing. So when they evaluate, then if we can follow, we are going to be automatically be ready. That means investor friendly, investor ready country. So we must make enough emphasis. So whatever the government going to be, the government will be under challenge of poverty, unemployment, energy cost. So government can't run a government manifest or what they have promised to people if they put all their money into something which is under pressure from the public. So we have to find a balance between the policy and execution. So that's why I have analyzed between the Be Ready versus impact of SDG in certain valuable important segments. So if the government can look at next 5 to 10 years in their budget forecast and budgetary allocation demands and requirement, if they only concentrate on political demand, we will fail. If they only concentrating on Be Ready, the country will fail from the public point of view. The poorest of poor will get more poorer, and then unemployment will increase, cost of living will go up. So the government will not be able to, no government will be able to sustain because the pressure will come. So the balance is what here we have to look at. One can say, various things. You can say various policies have come into the world over last 100 years, and it can be lefties or right wing, or you can say, but at the end of the day, for a country like ours, size of ours, there's a requirement of having globally available platform where the investors can come in. Niresh, let me take your focus to a very important segment, which is the top 10 priority areas that World Bank, the Be Ready has focused on. Number 1, business entry, how to enter into the market, business location, utility services, labor, financial services, international trade, taxation, market competition, dispute resolution, and business insolvency. These are the areas, and in that they have gone into the 3 major pillars, that is regulatory framework, public services, and operational efficiency. These 3 areas, Sri Lanka is doing somewhat well with the regulatory framework. I think we have improved quite a lot. So we have a little bit more to go, but that's good. Out of 100, we are 74, 78 kind of a range. Public services, out of 100, we are 55 to 62 range. And also operational efficiency, 43 to 48 out of 100, which is not very good. We are lagging behind. So key, as a country, as a government, the public service can be given guidelines. Look, you have energy ministry, you have power, you have education, you have whatever, the ministry, these are your yardsticks, this is what the world is looking at, this is what you should be doing. So these are not policies or any political party should be worried about. Whether it's SLP, communists or JVP, UNP, should not be worried about. They can say, okay, we are going to give uniforms to every school. That's within. You can say we're going to give free health for all the people who are working and give insurance. That's a policy matter. That's a political. That is allowed. But these are global agendas which we can't ignore and say we know what we are doing. Can you come to Sri Lanka? It's a beautiful place at the middle of the Indian Ocean. We have so many shipping routes. Lovely. That's good for the tourism. But if you are looking at FDI and if you're looking at genuine foreign investment to come in, then you have to show your credentials by way of numbers. Numbers will speak itself.
So these are basically the global standards, and we need to work towards being better at them in order to compete. Otherwise, the FDI is going somewhere else.
Precisely.
Basically, because even within our own region in South Asia and Southeast Asia, we are competing with a lot of countries which may have better indicators in Be Ready.
If you look at our own people, how many outstanding entrepreneurs, business people established in this country? You take T-Trade, take Dilma or someone big, take so many successful stories in this country. Even if you ask them, what's your future plan in Sri Lanka? They may have come to a saturated point. They don't want to hang around any longer because they can't sell locally. They have to go globally. So what are they looking at if they want to go? Similarly, all the foreign investors will also look at something like that within Sri Lanka. So are we ready? If you don't put enough emphasis and if you can't understand the difference. So that is what I've done. I've done a lot of paperwork on this, done a lot of reading on this. This is a good yardstick if we are to have a takeoff and a start. And if you look at Sri Lankan investors coming to Colombo, they have to go to EDB for export oriented. Then we have a BOI, we have the zone in the port city. Then we have stock exchange, Colombo stock market. Then we have finance ministry. All these people put together, they are all working separately in somewhat. Unless we put all that into one basket, and there is a governing authority or a body to support simultaneously, parallelly, to get together, we can not find it that easy. Now, infrastructure wise, it's there, but we have to look at what they're looking at. Now, especially the stock market. If you want to have private equity, you want to have a venture capital, people to come with venture capital, is to come here. The private equity is an art. There's a lot of money there to invest, but they're looking at certain things, certain numbers, certain parameters. Then unless we are ready to work with that, then I think our opportunity, I'm not saying we are 100% going to be zero. We have been successful in a lot of investments, a lot of people have come in, especially after 2009, 2010, you go to Gulf Face, you look at it, there are so many beautiful infrastructures come up. It's nice to see Colombo is looking beautiful out there, but those are immediately after the war situation, expecting something will happen, something is going to change this part of the world, Colombo is the place. But we are now at 2026 after 17 years after the war. Are we going to take this next wave into our opportunity, to convert into an opportunity for Sri Lanka? For that, what shall we do? What should we do? That is what my focus in this. I thought this is very significant, this reading, this research, and the amount of work we have done. So this focus is for the finding the middle path, finding the balance between policy and the delivery. So the middle path means the execution, the policy makers. The balance is where we can attract, while we are maintaining our political pressure, and attracting the foreign investment coming our way.
Now, you mentioned the balance, and it's the balance between regulatory design and institutional delivery. What is it that has held us back in this? Because if you go to any ministry or department or corporation, they have plans, they have the data, they've done a massive amount of work, but those plans are, for the most part, just gathering dust somewhere on a shelf. What is it that has prevented us, apart from, of course, perhaps lack of funding, but is there some bottleneck here?
I've done with my page 33, the table 3.6. I've taken some samples. For example, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, India, Bangladesh, Malaysia. I thought I focus more towards Asia for this particular purpose because we have garments, the apparel industry, Bangladesh and Vietnam and so on and so forth. I've taken those 4 countries together with us. When you say be ready, transitional, we are still in, not ready to be part of. Vietnam, top quintile. Emerging leader, India. Bangladesh, efficiency is driven. Established leader, Malaysia. We are still getting there. Lows, good, we are high, very good. Moderate, Vietnam. India is very good. Moderate, Bangladesh, very good. Malaysia. Then comes services. We are moderate, not very extremely good. And extreme, very high, India, and Malaysia very high. Coming to the speed of getting things done, we are very low. Vietnam very high, and India moderate, and Malaysia very high. I just gave you a chart, it's only a discussion here. There are things people are looking at. So when we say high, why do you say high? When you say low, then we have to go back and see our institutional framework, where is it lagging behind? Why is it happening? Why Vietnam? Why we are not we are? Why Bangladesh? Why not we are? Why Bangladesh is lower than us? How can we sustain and go further up? So that is what institutionally we have to look at. When people want to open up a new business, they want to get some tax concessions, they want to have some FDIs coming in, they want to take their, once they make their money, they want to take their dividends and go back. They should be able to remit their money back if they made profit after paying taxes. So that environment, I think we need to, if we are focused about want to be a member amongst the rest of the world, and if you think you are a global player, you want to have a hub where that attract people to come on board, we have no choice but to go with be ready. Then we are, if we are ready for business, business will come our way.
Now, Dr. Amna, from an academic point of view, how do you view Dr. Thilanga's research? Is it an example not just for Sri Lanka, but can it also be utilized in other countries perhaps?
Yeah, of course. The research is important because it connects academic analysis and real policy, of course, challenges. So many studies focus just on theoretical challenges or issues. And here you have a practical problem. So how to translate policy idea to the real world. So it makes sense and it's valuable for academic, and even it's valuable, high relevant for national development too. So it's like you have the framework of the World Bank or United Nations, and this book gives you a little bit, it's a spread, so it's a kind of case study for Sri Lanka, which can be implemented, of course, to the other countries. It's like if we can explore what has been done in Rwanda, like developing countries. It's the link between academic research, like here, and the practical one. If we move to European, we have Estonia. have said the same thing. So you need analysis, you need data, you need to be part of global economy, because it's indeed, if you want not to be a cat of the word, and we can move like ASEAN, you have Singapore, have done the same thing. So they study, they work hand in hand with academia, and they resolve problems and they implement them. So this kind of framework, it's a little bit spread from the framework of United Nations or World Bank, be ready, and it's suitable for developing country like Sri Lanka or the others.
Excellent. We need to take a short commercial break now. I am with Dr. Thilanga Sumathipala and Dr. Amna Mezni. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Your afternoon starts with ABC on TV1. World news, sports news, documentary. Stay informed, stay ahead. Every weekday, 12:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. ABC Afternoon, only on TV1.
මේ විවාදය වයිල්ඩ් කාඩ් විවාදයක්.
මිනිස්සු බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ව්‍යාපදිංචි කරපු සීල් එකක් නෙමෙයි.
රියල් මිලියන 82කට වෙච්ච දෙයක් හොයාගන්න නැහැ. කොහොමද හිතවනුවේම හොදටම මුණ වෙලා තියෙනවා.
කීයටවත් අපි කිව්වද මේ විවාදය තුළ උදව් කරන්න එපා නොමිනිසුන් වෙන්න.
ආපදාවක ලක්ුණෙන් පස්සේ මේක විධිමත් ආයතනයක්ද කියන බල ඉන්නේ.
Sirasa debater with AAT Sri Lanka.
ඉරිදා සවස 6ට.
බක්මහි අසිරිය අරගෙන Newsfirst අවුරුදු මෙවර කළුතර බෝමුල ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේදී දවස පුරා බයිසිකල් තරග ගමහරහා දිවීම කොට්ටපොර ජනගී ගායනය අවුරුදු කුමරා කුමරිය ඇතුළු ජන ක්‍රීඩා රැසක් සමග කළුගම් පුරවර සිරි අවුරුදු උළෙල අප්‍රේල් 18 වෙනිදා දවස පුරා සංවිධානය කළුතර දිස්ත්‍රික් ලේකම් කාර්යාලය ඇතුළු රාජ්‍ය ආයතන සමග සමනල ක්‍රීඩා සමාජය.
Welcome back to Face to Face. I am with Dr. Thilanga Sumathipala and Dr. Amna Mezni. Dr. Mezni, you mentioned this phrase, research to action. And that, I think, is the key for us in Sri Lanka and in many other countries as well. How would you recommend that Dr. Thilanga's blueprint, I mean, this is indeed a fabulous blueprint. How do you recommend that it be implemented? What's the process we should follow?
If you are a politician and policymakers and you believe in this work, so the best approach would be gradual implementation. It means incremental one. So first the framework should be tested in a few priority sectors, for example. Then based on the result, it can be refined, of course, and expanded to the other area. Here, it's step by step can make the institution learn, of course, adapt, and ensure that the reforms are suitable and sustainable too. So they need to go step by step with prioritize their some area and then implement with because you have all the KPI, you have all the constraints, so the analyses are done. So now you need to act with a plan, with a schedule, and to achieve, of course, the program.
Right. Wonderful. Now, Dr. Thilanga, you've certainly done your part. The research, and it wasn't just a PhD research. You didn't get your get the award of a PhD and rest on that. You turned it into a book, and you had a massive launch of the book where there were so many policymakers from, I think all political parties, including a former president, 2 former prime ministers, 2 former speakers of parliament, and policymakers from the present government, they were all there, and you handed out the book to each of them. Every person in the audience was given a copy of the book. Now, how do you get these people to read it and implement it?
Well, it's a very, very, very important and a significant question. If you say it's a question, Niresh. Well, I would say start with the Be Ready is very new to Sri Lanka. It's not very much analyzed or very many people have got involved. Therefore, government must take the responsibility of giving leadership to it. I think current context, President is the Minister of Finance. Ideally speaking, Minister of Finance should be looking at this very seriously. And there should be a strategic unit or umbrella which they are looking at Minister of Finance together with the Parliament, if possible another select committee, looking at the way forward. At the end of the day, we need money in the country, we need income, we need FDI. We have a colossal amount of outflow. We are committed to pay a lot of money after 2028 for the international loans and facilities we have taken. So at the moment we had a huge disadvantage against the war happening in the Middle East. So all our exports are in trouble with tea market. Our tourism is going to be affected because of the airfare and travel routes. Our shipping costs going to be a little bit in difficulty with the current situation, insurance and all that. There's a possibility going up. Oil prices are going to be in an effective way, and then of course foreign remittance coming our way. It's a huge amount of money every month. It will have an effect. The gas price will go up. So the next 3 to 4 months going to be very, very, very difficult for all of us unless we get ready now. So we have to tell the truth to the people and say, look, we're going to be hit again. We had tsunami, we had Ditwa, we had economic crisis because of COVID pandemic. So we are going to have another hit. But we are a resilient nation. We have always bounced back. And if that is the case, they have to take this into a hand and have an umbrella where under the national level, look at, as I said before, the port city, look at the BOI, look at the EDB, look at the finance ministry and the Colombo Stock Exchange. Together with that, have a system or a plan where at the parliament there will be a select committee with some senior member of the parliament or experienced personality or something, and bring everyone together. You can't have in isolation government representatives alone running a select committee or advisory council. So that's policy wise that is needed. Then look at least another 4-year or 6-year business plan. So then it will happen side by side. That's number one. Number two, there are forums in Singapore, in Luxembourg, in London. There are exchanges. Stock exchanges are vibrant, and that's where the money is decided where to invest, private equity or a venture capital. So they take decisions based on various important data. So we have to support it. So if you don't understand that, if you have no, if you can't give enough emphasis to that, then obviously we can discuss this, but we will know that we need it. But if you are shy to drive it through, then we will not get the proper results. So I intend to make sure over next few weeks, all the decision makers who matters again to pursue, and I would like to invite people like your station to support this case. It is not for personally or any of us. I mean, this much of colossal amount of work, reading had done, no gain or find a job. I think it's my responsibility. I've done my part. I can only be supportive of the next level of research and data. We need to have a system in this country. Politicians or leaders or policymakers or even the state government institutional heads, they need to have data, analyze data to make their decisions. If we don't have that practice, we can't be in the dark and we can't be taking decisions without having enough data. And when you take decisions also, you have to understand how, by taking this decision, how effectively we can change the living standard of the poorest of poor people in this country over a period of time. So every decision we are making at the top level, we should have that concern, right? We are going to do this over the next 3 years. We will bring our poverty level down. We will bring our unemployment level down. Cost of living can be marginally managed. We will slowly work on our reserves. We support people who are bringing money into the country. We will protect them and we will give them standing in the society because they are the ones who are driving our economy. So it's a holistic approach we have to take, Niresh. So I believe country needs it right now. Country is waiting for something like that. So I'm confident masses, public, most of the people want it. They're just wanting and looking at something which you can drive.
So, Dr. Thilanga, you are speaking of an evidence-based thought process towards key policy decisions, which is not something that we are really used to in this country. For decades, our policymakers have gone with gut feelings and their own experience rather than going with evidence and deep research like yours. So you're actually talking about a culture change among the policymakers.
Things have changed, especially after 2022, because people were having negative thoughts about IMF engagement. But IMF engagement is good to have an escape route when you are in financial difficulty.
Yes.
But IMF program will never help for you to, I would say, elevate our living standard and maybe go for a pragmatic, futuristic plan. But it will give you comfort, sustainability. They are there to help you to sustain, but not up and running and develop, in my opinion. So that's why, while that commitment is still in the process, take this Be Ready into your hand, drive fast, and then we can start negotiating and bring top people onto the table. For that, it's not the culture, it's the awareness. It is believe in this and bring and drive the country together. I mean, at one stage when you had Api when Api was a campaign at the latter part of the war, then the country stood by. They knew things are going to be very costly, it's going to be expensive. Nobody made a fuss. Some people never liked it, but they quietly withdrew because there is a national drive. Api when Api, we have to finish this war. Similarly, if there is a drive at the top level, people will believe it. This is a country, resilient people, and they have always bounced back during difficult times and after difficult times. But it's a matter of we believe in what we do and we convince the people this is what we should be doing. If you have a better idea, better plan, put it on the table. Let's consider that. We look at it. But this is what we believe right now. I mean, we don't have to go too far. If you look at the next door, India, look at 10 years back before Modi. Look at how they are driving together, telling the truth, no corruption. Leaders are not up to mischief. They are not looking at their personal income and various deals. They are looking at that. So we are just almost there. From the opportunity point of view, this government is there for next 3 years minimum. So the next 3 years is a long period in policy wise, and they have 2/3 in parliament, and they can legislate wise, they can bring any law into effect to give power to the FDI requirement of Be Ready. So I think we have a very good opportunity. Politics and policy issues, I would like to leave it aside. There will be always issues. There will be opposition will have their way of taking things up against the government. Government will have a way of countering it. That is politics. That can leave aside. But the policy wise, if you are not willing to focus on the key values, I'm sure this is a great opportunity. We are at the right time, at the right place, with the right environment in the government's strength. We must make use of it. That I think, if you place it properly, if you believe in that, we definitely can achieve it.
Absolutely. Dr. Mezni, what about some examples from other countries? Perhaps your students who have developed models such as this and were able to perhaps implement them. Could you give us some examples?
Yeah, of course. For me, the key word is research action, so research driven. The most thing that, for example, France and Europe are implementing nowadays, it's firm are financing some doctoral research to resolve their problems. So it makes sense if the research will bring, of course, this kind of solution. And if you look at, like I said, Estonia, Rwanda, Singapore, or Finland have developed in education because of the connection they have with research academic one. So they give them all the solution they needed, of course, to implement and to resolve their issues. So I think it's you need the government. Yes, you told about new culture. Why not? It's a new way of thinking. Thinking about yes, research analysis can help us, of course, to face all the constraints that you can have, or face other crises that you don't see but can also happen. And why not, if you have agriculture, thinking about think like biogas, it can solve you some problems if you are you struggle with oil, petrol, for example. It's now for tomorrow.
Excellent. Dr. Thilanga, you are a person who came from the private sector, moved into politics, and then you were in the state sector heading various corporations like telecom. So you have a wealth of experience across all this. How do you see Sri Lanka's private sector and the role that the private sector needs to play in the implementation of the Be Ready process?
Well, it's the Chamber of Commerce, local arm, who is supposed to be leading. They've got the primary documentation and the carrying forward as a chamber, which is mandatory. But I feel with my experience, the institutionally independent bodies like Chamber of Commerce or COIL or any institutes who are with the private sector, whether it's a tea trade or apparel trade, those chambers or those faculties or whatever you call it, alone government will not be able to work together, or government will not drive it, because it's not only one segment. So that is why I said it, policy driven leadership has to come from the top. It is not something chamber or the private sector can get together, because the private sector is a huge area. There are specialized segments and industries. Those industries will have their own chambers or different associations and combinations of various things. So they don't have enough muscle or power to drive it together, because when it comes to taxations, taxation will have to have a huge influence in inviting FDI. Then there are industries globally, they see the futuristic investment requirements. So when they come in, they know, okay, another 5 years time, 10 years down the line, automobile or assembly line, or whether it's IT based. So when they come into as an investor, they know where the raw material is coming, what are the concessions that is we are getting into that country, and then there's a huge gamut of areas that you have to cover. So private sector is the driving force. The Chamber of Commerce is the arm as a secretariat, but the driving has to be by the state, headed by or supported by the government appointed committee, or driving that as a national interest. Now we are almost doing similar to that with IT industry or technology. Government is going for a digitalized world, e-government and all that, which is good. It's happening over the last 10 to 15 years. Slowly it's moving well, which is good. Whether we have a e-passport, e-ID, that is something which people are watching, looking at it, because when you have a total control e-world, investor feels a little comfortable, because this, that means it's with the futuristic technology driven state or a government. So I think private sector has to play a massive role, but how the government mechanism can absorb that genuinely, given them the support to drive together, is what is the challenge we have.
We are unfortunately almost out of time, but I'd like to ask you if you have any further plans for more research and books, because as I mentioned earlier, this is not your first book. We had this one, Wave Maker, which was your personal story, and then several other publications. Thilanga at Parliament was one of them, which I think was translated into Sinhala as well.
Yes.
And then the Buddhist Cultural Trails of Sri Lanka, and several other books. What next in this journey of academia?
Well, I think I'm now reading for my another PhD with the University of Colombo at the SGS. That's where I had my book launch, and that's again, I think, as I go alone, it is like film director or a person who is into, you have the love for it, you have passion for it, you feel like there is a gap, you feel like writing about it, you feel like doing some research. I think my mind doesn't allow me to rest. If I have a problem in my mind, I think no, I must do it. I can't leave it to someone else, because I believe, if I believe in something, I have to give that leadership. I have to be the person who is driving it, because then if you believe in something, if you don't drive, if you get someone else to drive it for you, it won't happen. So that means you are not going to be fair by your country. So if you want to put your name to it, you're going to stamp it, that means you take the ownership of it, you take the authority of it. That means this cannot be the last book, this cannot be the only book, this is not going to be the final book. I'm only giving initiative, I'm only giving a drive from the best capacity I have to make sure it's very serious. It's a very serious matter. Similarly, I will have the urge to do another book, I'm sure, but it's down the line. I think there'll be always an opportunity for me to put something in on record. Let's see.
And I'm afraid we are out of time. My thanks to my guests tonight, Dr. Thilanga Sumathipala, PhD, and Dr. Amna Mezni, PhD, who is the Dean of the Faculty of International Relations at Paris American International University. Thank you very much to both of you. And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away, because the news is coming up next. Have a great evening.